So you're buying a home, or maybe you own a home. Do you know what you need? You know what you probably have is homeowners insurance. And I tell you, homeowners insurance can be so involved and so complicated and so expensive. I've had a incredible, really enjoyable conversation with a local agent, Mr. Tom Roney, and I'm going to share this conversation with you, and we're going to cover many topics that I'm sure you're going to appreciate. Stick around. Hi, welcome back. My name's Joe Brown. I'm a realtor with Century 21, List with Beggins, located in South Tampa. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment if you hear anything that you think is interesting that you want to comment about. But most importantly, share this with your friends and family who you think could benefit from this information. Thank you so much for doing that. So, I don't know about your experience with homeowners insurance. I have worked with clients who try to get homeowners insurance, and it's just so complicated, right? They're saying, no, we can't insure because of the roof. No, we can't insure because of the wiring. No, because of the age of the house. Where are people supposed to get insurance? And then for some people, insurance is so expensive. So I thought it would be valuable to share with you an interview I did with Mr. Tom Roney of Roney Insurance. So be sure to check the show notes below. I have Tom's name, his contact information about his agency. And this can be a resource for you if you're looking for new insurance or you just want to compare the insurance you have now. So Tom and I had an extensive interview, conversation, and I'm going to break it up into several different videos. So for today, let's just talk about insurance as a whole and what it means to you. So Tom, share with us about you and your agency.
Thanks for having me on this morning, Joe. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to speak to you and your customers about insurance in the state of Florida and our agency in general as well. We're an independent insurance agency here in Tampa, although we do business all over the state of Florida and certain other states as well. We focus really on both personal lines insurance, which would be coverages or such as your homeowner's policy, your auto insurance, a boat policy, a personal umbrella, motorcycle, recreational RV policies for the customers, as well as commercial insurance for the customer or the consumer, such as general liability, professional liability, workman's compensation insurance, commercial property insurance, bonds for some of those contractors and things of that nature. So we do kind of try to focus on being the small agent for all of our customers out there who not only have personal insurance needs, but also business insurance needs in the state of Florida.
And where is your office located, Tom?
We're on Northdale Mabry Highway. We're just north of Fletcher Avenue and south of Erlin.
Okay. So let me just ask, is all homeowners insurance the same?
No, all homeowner insurance is not the same. And specifically, we're really in an ever-changing homeowner insurance market here in Florida in the last 6 months. So there are certainly different policies that can be purchased for the customer.
Okay, can you describe a couple of those?
Sure. A standard homeowner's policy, which is considered an HO3 homeowner's policy, basically has an all perils coverage for the dwelling. The personal property coverage is on specific perils that are covered as opposed to all risk. There's also a dwelling fire policy that can be utilized for the customer, which has, more limitations really than the standard homeowner policy. And you can now go into really an HO5 insurance policy, which some of the carriers are offering in Florida, which is all risk for both the dwelling and for the personal property as well.
Now, I know just because I have a little bit of background in the insurance industry many decades ago, but I know back in '04, after Florida was hit with, what was it, 5 or 6 hurricanes at one time, many homeowners carriers pulled out of writing insurance. So what is the homeowners market like now in Florida?
Well, you're correct. I mean, that a lot of the carriers back in '04 or following the storms in '04 did pull out of writing new business in Florida. Some of those carriers have come back really in terms of writing new business, but a lot of the carriers are what are considered monoline homeowner insurance carriers in Florida, where they're specific to the state of Florida. Now, a lot of those carriers over the last 6 to 7 months have placed additional underwriting restrictions on the consumer really, and some of them have even shut down writing new business themselves. So it has been an interesting first half of 2021 here in the state of Florida in terms of the homeowners insurance market. It's become much more restrictive than it was in the past.
And I know later in our talk, we'll talk more about some specific perils, right? So, but let's talk about, Florida really has a wide range of home values, right? From townhomes and condos in the 200 range up to $1 million mansions. So you mentioned the HO3 or HO5. Would that policy cover all homeowners, or would there be different policies depending on price point of the home?
Those policies would cover standard dwelling homes. So they would not cover condos. That would be a condo policy, which would be an HO6 policy form. But for the most part, I guess those would cover the HO3, and the HO5 would cover almost any home here in Hillsborough County or in Florida. But they have different coverages and limits that they'll provide for the consumer.
Okay. And I know you have PowerPoints you want to share with us. So when you want to share, just say, Joe, I want to share, and you can do that. Okay. And let's just go back, because you are an agency, you are a general agency, you represent many different carriers. Is that right?
Correct. We represent multiple different homeowner carriers in Florida. That gives us the opportunity really to know where to go with your homeowner's insurance policy. As I mentioned, these things are constantly changing in the state of Florida, sometimes even on a weekly basis. We get new underwriting guidelines. So certainly things may change next week that, for guidelines and underwriting guidelines that are in place currently.
So if Rooney Insurance is quoting, let's say, auto owners, and Italiano Insurance is quoting auto owners, the quote should be the same as long as coverages and deductibles and everything is the same. That's on the agency side. However, the carrier side is quite different, whether it's auto owners and citizens and homeowners choice. The carriers themselves vary by premium. Well, why would that be?
That's a great question. I mean, each carrier within the state of Florida, with the Department of Insurance, with the Office of Insurance and Regulations, files their own set of guidelines with the state. So they provide to them a set of guidelines in terms of what they're going to charge for their standard homeowner insurance product under the HO3 policy form. And each carrier is going to be different. They're going to be different with regards to their filings they have, with regards to discounts or credits on the policy as well. So although the same, the premium should be the same no matter which agency you go to. If you're quoting the same company or carrier within Florida, certainly the companies can have vastly different premiums for the same property in Florida. So that's why it is a benefit for the customer to get, sometimes multiple different quotes for the same property, because one homeowner insurance company may be significantly less than another insurance company out there for that same property. And that's why one of the benefits of being an independent agent is we're not tied in to just one carrier, so to speak. As a carrier, let's say someone that's a State Farm agent who is not an independent agent may not have options to multiple different carriers in the state of Florida.
Okay.
They're what's called a captive agent.
So let's shift focus again and talk about home specific needs. So I would envision that there are some homes that the people are art collectors and so have high priced fine art throughout the home, or very expensive jewelry, or even wine collectors. So they have wine cellars. So are there endorsements or add-ons to homeowners policies? Or, well, let's back up. Are there limits for those things built into the policies? And then can you add on for higher coverage?
Yeah, great question. I mean, there are limits on the policy for certain things, such as silverware, such as jewelry, such as fine arts, such as guns. There are limitations on the standard homeowner policy for theft of those items. In many instances, those can be increased on the homeowner's insurance policy. Sometimes they do require appraisals to be done depending upon the value of the item. But that is something that can be done on most of the standard homeowner insurance policies. They can be increased. It's based typically on the dollar amount, the replacement cost, or the assessed dollar amount based on that appraisal for that item. And if not, then you can get a separate personal articles floater policy to insure those items as well through a separate company. So that's certainly an option as well if it can't be done by the homeowner insurance carrier, or if the limit that you're looking for may be beyond the limit that they're willing to insure those items for under the policy.
Okay. So, and I'm not trying to be devious here at all, Tom, right? But let's say we had a fire at our house and I call you because you're my agent and say, hey, Tom, we had a fire, destroyed a room. I had 2 leather couches and a 60-inch LED TV, and I had 3 laptops in there and they're all destroyed. Now, none of that is true. So what type of proof would the insurance company need that I had those items? Or to insure myself, should I take pictures of what's in the room? So just guide me through that.
Sure, I think that's a great thing. And now everyone has, for the most part, a camera on their phone. I mean, it's a great idea to go through your rooms and take photos of the rooms themselves. If you've got items in drawers, maybe open the drawers and go ahead and take photographs there as well. Because if you've had a loss, sometimes you won't recall everything that you have in the house, especially if you've had a total house fire that may have caused extensive damage to the home itself. There may be items that are pushed back in drawers that you don't recall. So taking photographs of those items, you could certainly do an inventory of those items as well. But if you've taken photographs or video, certainly of your rooms, that will give you and the insurance company good documentation. Certainly, if you've got receipts, nowadays, a lot of times receipts come for larger ticket items. They might come as an e-receipt that you have stored in files on your laptop or your computer. or your cell phone or things of that nature. So a lot of those items, you might have receipts now that are e-receipts. Or for larger items, you may be able to go back to the store themselves, and even obtain an e-receipt that they might have on file, through your email address or through your phone number that are stored with them. So those are certainly excellent sources of ways that you can document those items that that you had and that were damaged or destroyed in a claim or loss, certainly. But a lot of times the carrier may ask you to, they'll ask you to complete a detailed itinerary of those items. Inventory of those items. That would include a detailed description of, the item itself, when you purchased it, or approximately when you purchased it, and what you paid for that item itself.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit. Can I bring up something, I guess, in conjunction with that, I guess, replacement cost of your personal property versus actual cash value. Certainly, replacement cost on a standard homeowner's policy is not automatic. It's an endorsement on there. It's something that you want to make sure that if you don't elect replacement cost on your policy and you go with the actual cash value option, you need to understand that although you may be receiving a premium savings for that, the carrier will then depreciate your items at the time that you have a loss or claim. So it's certainly very important to understand that distinction, because certain agencies may look to not include replacement costs on your homeowner's insurance policy, which will lower the premium on there and give you an indication that you're actually getting a better deal with that company, when maybe they're not. It's not so clear that you're not getting replacement costs for your contents or your personal property.
Okay. Along the same lines, what's the difference between a home value and the dwelling coverage?
Right, and this is an excellent question, especially for South Tampa, where we're seeing significant increases in the market values of homes, and certainly the value of land down there in South Tampa and in Hillsborough County, really. So when we as an agency are gathering information to determine the replacement cost for the home, to put that into the replacement cost estimator with each carrier, we're gathering information from certain websites, let's say the Hillsborough County Property Appraiser site. We're looking at the listings for the homes, if it's a new home purchase, on Zillow or Realtor.com or something of that nature. We're discussing that with the person that we're looking to insure to determine, I guess, what upgrades have been made to the home. Let's say if they're the existing homeowner on it, or if it's a new purchase, what type of flooring is in the home, what type of countertops are in the home, things of that nature. What are other structures that are detached around the home that we may need to include as well? In that regard, is there a pool? Is there a screen enclosure around that pool? Is there fencing around there? So these are all questions that we're gathering to determine, I guess, the replacement cost value of that home. Each carrier has their own replacement cost estimator, and they utilize probably 2 or 3 different sources for replacement cost estimators in the industry. We put that information in there, and that gives us a replacement cost value of the home. That's not necessarily the market cost value of the home or the cost that you paid for the home itself, because that includes certainly the value of the land and certainly the market conditions for the home area that you're in and purchasing that home in. So, especially with homes in South Tampa, you might be purchasing that home for $800,000, but the cost to rebuild that home might be $500,000. So from an insurance carrier standpoint, we're looking to make sure that we have a home insured to what 100% of replacement cost value, but that's not necessarily the market value on the home itself.
Yeah, because I always heard that the house may go away, but the land is still there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for being here with us today, listening to Tom Roney as he shares his insurance knowledge with all of us. So listen, I do these videos because I want to be of service to this area. I changed the game because of my knowledge, but I want you to change the game because of your knowledge. That's why I do these videos. And so hopefully you've learned something today that you can share. As I said, check out my website, joebrownc21.com. You can learn more about me. You can search for homes in the area. You can read my blogs. I love sharing this information with you because South Tampa, Florida living is awesome.